Louis, you should be able to talk. But we can't hear
there
you.
we go. Yep. Sorry, folks. My headset kind of died out. So as I was saying a little while ago, I think you folks heard me. Next month, we're going to be doing Node-RED Contrib FileMaker, which is a FileMaker data API connector using Node-RED, and Dropship, which is a still under public beta tool that's coming out very shortly to help you manage and share your FileMaker XML clips. And I'm very excited this month to get to connect with Christian for the MBS FileMaker plugin. I got to see some of this stuff at the last pause. It was really cool. I'm excited to be checking it out again.
Is that it?
Yeah, unless you folks have any questions.
Thank you, Louis.
All right,
Yeah,
I will
thanks.
put Louis back on mute. And Christian, why don't you make sure you can talk?
Hello?
Can everybody hear Christian?
Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, I'm going to mute myself.
I'm here.
Hello? So,
Everybody still? Yeah, I can still hear you now. Okay, shoot. Go.
so welcome to my presentation about the MBS FileMaker plugin. My name is Christian Schmitz, and I'm the main developer behind the plugin. The MBS plugin currently has 5,800 functions. We are adding new functions every year. We have 500 example databases, so if you have a week, you can check them out. The plugin comes as one plugin file, which makes it easy to install and update, and only the parts used are loaded and actively used. You can install it by script with the install plugin file script step, and we have an example database showing you how to install it on demand. We support FileMaker 8.5 and newer, and the current plugin works fine on FileMaker 18. The plugin works with FileMaker Pro Advanced, Runtime, Server, Cloud, iOS SDK, just not with FileMaker Go directly. On FileMaker Go, you have to use perform script on server if you want to use any plugin function. Or you build your own iOS app with the iOS SDK. We have one central MBS function because it's not practical to have 5,000 function names registered. So the first parameter is the actual function name, and that can be from a calculation or from a field. Like you can have a pop-up menu choosing an image effect and then pass it as a function name. For every function, there's a possibility that there's an error, so you can check with the MBS is error function whether the last function on the same script caused an error. And this is per script, so it's thread safe, and you can use it on the server with several scripts running in parallel. A lot of functions use reference parameters. For example, if you pass a JSON block, you get back an ID, and this ID is then passed into other JSON functions. And today I want to give you an overview about the most common functions and of some new functions, not everything. For curl functions, we have HTTP, FTP transfers, uploads, downloads. It's similar to what FileMaker has with insert from URL, but we have a few more options. We have all the SSL and proxy authentication functions. We can transfer in background, so the user interface doesn't need to wait. We can do custom FTP operations to delete or rename files. We handle a lot of web services and have examples for a few of them. You can send custom HTTP headers, and you can send web forms without a web viewer. We have a lot of functions for email sending and receiving. So you can send emails with several attachments, HTML with embedded images. We have an example to batch email a lot of emails for newsletter, where we use parallel transfers and reuse connection to get emails sent much faster than if you would send one after the other. We also have an example for IMAP receiving. So you can download all your emails from an IMAP account. You can see the content, save the attachments to fields. You can delete an email or move it or otherwise process the emails. And we have an email preview, so you actually see the email rendered as HTML with embedded images. For Windows, we support the Windows Mail API, so you can talk to Outlook and create an email from FileMaker. Then we have PDF functions. There's PDF Kit for Mac using the framework from Apple. And we have DynaPDF, which is a separated PDF library we use in the plugin. Both can do the basic PDF functions like merge PDF, split PDF. You can render pictures from pages. For example, if you want to show them in WebDirect without relying on a browser plugin. You can print PDFs directly to the printer on Mac with PDF Kit, on Windows with DynaPDF. You can extract the text of a PDF, put it in a field for full text search, or you can add new pages or pages with images. With DynaPDF, we can do much more. We can convert existing PDFs to PDF-A for archiving or PDF-X format. You can use our examples to create invoices as PDF documents with embedded XML file. As used in the standard in Germany, it's called Zugwert, or the international one, Fact2X. You can create form fields, fill them with values, send the PDF to your customer, get back a changed PDF form, and then query the new values from the PDF document. You can extract pages, extract images, and replace images if you want from a template. You can extract the text from a given area, so you can grab the invoice number, for example, and you can encrypt and decrypt PDFs with a password. And the text you can do find and replace if needed. You can highlight text to show where you found some text. You can use our table functions for layouts to do your own layouts with the plugin and output a table over several pages. You can work with annotations and change them or add new annotations. You can add links to pages or URLs, so you can actually make your links on the PDF clickable. You can add page numbers for your whole document after you merge several of them. And you can digitally sign your PDF file, which some companies need because invoices need to be signed, so you can prove that they have not been changed. We can optimize PDF files. We recreate the structure, which may fix an error. We can scale down images so the PDF file gets smaller, but we can also replace duplicate fonts and images with references and remove some private data like the one from InDesign. So you can't, so you get a smaller PDF, but it's not as good to edit anymore. If you need anything on encryption or hash functions, we have a couple of them. For example, elliptic curve digital signatures, which is very convenient because it's secure, but it's a short signature. If you need anything for web service authentication, those functions may help, or if you need to encrypt something in FileMaker and then decrypt it somewhere else, this may be usable, handy. Then we have global variables. Those are independent of the database and preserve the data type, so you can put in a container or a timestamp and you get back a timestamp or container. We have a dictionary function where you can store key and values. This also preserves the data type, so you can make a lookup table for some values you want, like put in all the zip codes with city names and then get them back without needing a relationship or an extra table. Then we have the quick list, which is an in-memory list of text values. As it's stored in memory with index, it's much quicker to access or to change things. And you're not passing big block of text around, but you just pass in the ID of the list in memory. And recently we got a two-dimensional array with our matrix functions. So you can again store values there. You can fill it with SQL commands and later query values as needed. Then we got continuity camera for macOS 10.14 and iOS 12, where you can ask the user to take a picture with his iPhone and get the picture into your database on a Mac. For normal pictures, you get a JPEG, and for documents, you get a PDF document. And here's an example screen where you scan a document with the iPhone on your desk, and you get the picture as a PDF file into your database. Then we have functions for working with Excel documents, where you can read and write Excel documents in the older and the newer format. You can add, edit, delete fonts, formats, sheets, so you can post-process the files after FileMaker exported them or pre-process them before FileMaker imports the files. And we got functions to read and write big blocks of data in one call. Then we have functions to work with Word files, where you can query text and replace placeholders with values and save the new doc file to the disk. And we have machine learning functions, so you can use a model you created to classify images or send in some text and get, for example, whether the customer is angry or classify something else. We have an integration with the address book, calendars, and reminders applications on Mac, where you can connect to the databases and create entries, edit entries. And some customers use this to either fill the calendars for the employers with events or to create a group on the address book with all the contacts from the FileMaker database. So you can see who's calling when you get a call. Then we have SQL commands within FileMaker. We can just execute SQL commands, or we have the convenience function to insert a record, delete a record, update a record, where we build the SQL command for you, and you just pass in the name of the file, the name of the table, the field names, and the values. And this preserves the data type, so you can pass in containers, for example. You can also do an insert with a query. So you can make a query in one table, and then we insert the records in another table. And this is very efficient for copying data from one file to another. We can also create records based on CSV, comma-separated values or tab-separated values. And you pass in the list of the field names, and we create the records for you. And if you do a select and have the result in memory, you can query individual values from the result, so you can get back containers or dates without conversion to text. Then we have SQL access to other databases, and currently I think we have 14 types there. So we can connect in a script to a foreign database, run a select statement, get some data, store them in FileMaker or other way around. We have convenience functions where you can easily copy the result set from one side to the other side and move hundreds of records easily with one line. Then we have schedules where you can run a script at a given time in a few minutes or when the user is idle, so you can commit the current record or log out the user if they are doing nothing. Then we have a lot of file functions where you can copy, move, rename files. You can query file information like the file size. You can mount network volumes automatically, which is very handy on the FileMaker server, where you can write a script to mount a disk at midnight, copy some backup files, and unmount it again. You can query disk information like the free disk space. You can check if a file is open, which might be handy whether to decide whether to back up a database or not. And you can monitor a folder for changes, so you get a script call if someone is changing something in a folder. Then we have image editing, where you can load various image formats, convert them to a different format, and save it to a field or to a file. You can scale pictures, rotate them, put one picture, another picture, put some text on it, some vector graphics. You can find something in a picture, like look for a line. You can work with the metadata, extract it or remove it, and you can convert SVG to bitmap if you need to. And you can trigger scripts by hotkey. So you can define a hotkey, and if it's pressed, run a script in the background, do some tasks. And you can show notifications on Mac, on Windows, on iOS. So you can notify the user if something finished in the background. You can.
There's a question up here. Is it okay to take
Yeah,
questions?
sure.
While you're talking? There's one up there right now.
Let's say part of the new. Yeah, we can rotate PDF pages. Yeah. So with a Dyna PDF function, there you can set the orientation for each PDF page. Yeah.
And they'll print the new rotation.
Yeah, well, you load the PDF document, you look for the page, and then you say change the orientation, and then you save the PDF, so it would print in the new setting. So we have the web viewer where you can run JavaScript in the web viewer on all platforms. You can get the current HTML content or text from the web page. You can fill automatically forms, like if you have a web store where you order something regularly, you may not want to enter your address information every time, so we can autofill that with a script. You can get all the text on the web page, links, images. You can print the web page and save the page as image or PDF document. We have sockets and serial ports, so you can connect to a device with TCP connection or with serial port connection, and then you can send data, receive data. You can get a script triggered if there's data coming in. With UDP, you can also do broadcast messaging to all computers in the local network and have them trigger a script to process the request. And with the server socket functions, we can take incoming connections. Most people use that for talking to devices like a scale to get the weight of something. And then we can do a lot of around printing, like listing the printers. We can control the print dialog on Mac and Windows. So you can choose which printer to use for the next print, which paper from a given tray, and a few other options. So you can have, for example, a document being printed where the first page uses a nice paper, the second page is normal paper, and maybe on the end you have a paper with some coupon on it. So you can use different trays.
How is that different than like just using FileMaker to print?
Well, this is more for automating it. So instead of creating a print setup script step for each printer in each configuration, you could just have a database with all the printers listed, with all the features, and then decide, okay, I print this on that printer.
Oh, so you can capture all the,
you can actually
all the settings and that you can store.
You can use the plugin to query what settings are available. But normally people just want to have a table, and then now if you're sitting on this desk, this is the printer next to you. This printer can print color or not, or this printer has certain paper sizes available.
And we can actually keep a table in FileMaker that has all that information.
Yeah, you keep that in FileMaker, and then you can make clever choices about where to print. Or you switch to a label printer, print your labels, and switch back to normal printer. Then we can scan documents with Flatbed or document feeder. So we have the APIs for Mac with image capture, we have Windows image acquisition, and we have the old train interface still around for, well, if you have an older scanner. We can scan with and without Dialog. So you can completely automate it, put a stack of papers on a document feeder, walk away, and later find records in a database with all the scanned pages. You can, of course, create a PDF from all the documents. With OCR, you can get the text from the page, and then you can even create a PDF document with the text inside, so it's a searchable PDF. Then we have context menus, which you can build in your scripts, show them to the user. User can make a choice, and you can react on it. And we offer a lot of various styles for the buttons there. Then we have XML functions where you can make queries within a subtree. You can get the text values. You can edit and values and attributes. You can even use our parse functions to get certain values from a hierarchy inside the XML. We can parse XML once, give you an ID back, so you don't. You can get quicker reaction times because we just parse it once and then keep it in memory. We can also validate XML with a schema and do express queries to get values from an XML file.
Somebody asking you a question?
We also have barcode functions coming later. So you can do a scan and find the barcodes there and then get the content of the barcode. We have our JSON XML import. So you can pass in a JSON text or XML text to the plugin. We analyze the text, find records, create you the tables and the fields in your FileMaker database, then import the records, and you can build a layout for the tables or a script to use the data. This is great because you can automatically import a lot of data regularly. And if there's a new field added later to your XML, you will automatically get the new field in FileMaker too. Then we have shell commands where you can run command line tools, pass in parameters, environment variables, text. You can read the output from the application, separated with normal and error output. We can trigger a script if there's something coming in or if the tool finished. But you can also just have a loop waiting for it to finish. And if needed, you can force quit the process. And we have used that in the past, for example, with FFmpeg to convert videos, with the zip tool to zip a folder in the background, running asynchronously. The ping tool can be handy to ping something in the background, or use a FileMaker server admin tool to query some information about your server, like how many people are logged in. If you show XML or JSON to the user, you may want to format it with the plugin functions, add some color, and then maybe even add the line numbers. A few people use that for some debug screens, just for checking what a web service is doing. This can be handy. Then we have regular expressions where you can compile a pattern once, use it very often with various text blocks, find something in a list. You can get the queries, the substrings you found with your pattern, and you can do search and replace in text and even use parts of your search to build the new text, the replacement. And then we have a loop function, which can be handy to count up like a for loop and execute a formula, similar to the new while function in FileMaker 18.
Does yours have advantages over the while function, or?
Well, we have this. We have an extra exit condition there added, so we avoid endless loops. And well, this can be used in FileMaker 17.
Sure.
But otherwise, they are similar, very similar. Then we have a lot of functions specifically for iOS, like our health kit, store kit, image picker, message composer, and all the other functions we made available for iOS. So if you have any need for an iOS app, you can use this. And I think we already have something like 2,000 functions for iOS already supported. So try it.
Speaking of iOS, you wouldn't have anything that would allow two iOS devices to communicate peer-to-peer in any way.
Well, we have our socket functions for TCP sockets, for UDP sockets. So you could just open a socket on one, and
Bluetooth?
we don't have Bluetooth currently for the plugin. As usually, if there's a company coming saying we need that, then we can discuss adding the functionality to the plugin. Yeah. Next thing, this is a drag and drop, where you can define a drop area with the plugin and accept drops there. The plugin gives you a list of the files dropped, so you can drop several files, and this also works for files coming on demand, like here the Outlook attachments or the pictures from the Photos application on macOS, which you can't drop currently into a FileMaker container. And this allows you for several files to be dragged and dropped. Then we have barcode functions. We can create over 80 types of barcodes, and this includes the popular ones, but also very rarely used ones for us, like the codes for the Australian post office or the German post office. And we can even create special barcodes, like here, this payment code for the Switzerland. And we have some barcode detecting features where you can pass in a picture with a barcode on it, and we can detect the content. And so if you scan the document and the document has a QR code on it, you may be able to read the content. Like some customers put a number or a barcode on each document before it's scanned. So later you can find this barcode again and know the ID for the document. Then we have MapKit functions for macOS and iOS, where you can show maps on the FileMaker layout, and you can render snapshots. In the newer version, you can even plan a route, get directions, show them on the map. So you can, for example, for here a meeting, you can create snapshots of all the routes people need to take to come here to the meeting.
Is this only for macOS and iOS there?
This is for macOS and iOS, yeah. But people used to do that with Google Maps a lot, but Google Maps now needs you need to register a developer key, and then if you use it a lot, you need to pay for it. So on macOS, we get the maps for free included.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what do the Windows users do?
Google Maps. Next is we have a lot of syntax highlighting features for macOS for the FileMaker itself. So we have a rule-based highlighting for your scripts. You can actually see the rules. There's an example database with all the rules. You can change the rules if you want, and you can get customized colors into your scripts and calculations. And if there's an error in your script, it may be highlighted with a different color than the normal color for the same row. Then we have context menus, like if you want to copy the list of users in your database. Then we have the highlighting of the blocks in the script. So you click on a loop start and you see where the matching loop end is and where the loop exit is. You can search the relationship graph with our search field there, as well as search the scripts. So we search the visible text of the script and highlight all the rows matching the search term. We can show you the script IDs, layout IDs, field IDs, and table IDs. Also very useful. And when you trigger a script with the plugin, you can trigger it by name or by this ID. Next, we save the column with. So if you have the layout, the manage layout dialog, or the field or table definition dialog, we remember the column width for the columns. So if you have very long names, you don't need to resize the column each time.
None of that for Windows.
Sorry, not for Windows. And here's a zoom feature for the script editor. So if you make a presentation, you can use the plus button on top of the window and zoom in so people can better read your script. And in all the calculation dialogues, you can use Command F to search and replace text in your calculations or your custom functions. And same for the tables. So if you see any list in a FileMaker window, you can click on the list, press Command F, and get into search. This can be very handy if you open a database from someone else. You know there is a time field, but you don't know what prefix the name is, so you can't find it in the list. You just search for time and you find the field. And there's a context menu in FileMaker for the styles, and this list is not sorted. So people have been complaining about not finding the styles, and the plugin now sorts the list so you can pick the style by name alphabetically. And for the export dialog, we have a nice feature to show you a tooltip about the field you are about to export. So you can see if it's a formula or a global field. and which table it belongs to. And that's it. We got a website, we have a blog, we have some videos on the website, and you can sign up for a newsletter if you want. Now I would take questions.
That's all you got?
I thought I only had half an hour, so I removed a few slides.
5,000 functions. I have a question. What percentage of these functions were requested by customers or potential customers?
Nearly all of them.
All of them. So you didn't just like write.
Well, we add things to the plugin for 3 reasons. The first thing, we may need it ourselves. It may be good for advertisement because it's new and hot feature, or someone simply pays to get it added quickly. And we have a long wish list, so we may take a look for the next release. We may need another bullet point, so we just pick something from the wish list.
And then when you buy this plugin, you get all that?
The plugin license is for the plugin itself, and then Dyna PDF and the Excel stuff is a separate library, so there's a separate license fee. But yes, it's just one price for everything for our plugin, because everyone just uses a few functions. I don't know which functions you want, but everyone finds their loved functions. Any other questions?
Without looking it up, how much?
It's starting at $149 for 5 seat back. Well, we have a price list on the website. Right? And if you need anything custom, you can always call us. And maybe someone has an idea for a new feature which we could add and show at DEF CON.
Well, I noticed on the product ideas area in the community, somebody asks for something, you always go, oh yeah, we've already got that. Or you're like, oh, we could do that for you. I mean, you're like there half the time.
Yeah, well, if someone posts on the forum some idea and we can do that, we may offer to do it. Yeah. But after 12 years of plugin development, we have a lot of features already, and often just remind people it's there already. Use it.
We would like to talk more about how OCR work, because there is a kind of high demand for receive the invoice, purchase order kind of thing.
So there is the open source Tesseract engine. We are simply using this engine. It comes with something like 50 different language files, which I have for download on my website for you if you want. So you initialize the OCR, you specify which language you want. Then it will look up into the folder you specify with all the language files. If it picks the language, load it. Then you need to load the image into memory, and then tell the library which rectangle you want to run, what your segmentation mode is. I think full page or column based or something like this. We usually let it with auto. And then you run the OCR and you get back a big block of text.
All the text will be highlighted, then you just pick up what you want.
No, that's not how it works currently. We have a way to give you the text with coordinates. So you could sort it and figure out which text you want from the page. Yeah. So with a receipt, I've seen a few people who go and scan some invoices or receipts, and they usually have a database then with a table with all the queries they run with regular expressions to find certain pieces in the text, like find something starting with invoice number and then grab the numbers behind it. Yeah, last week on WWDC, I saw a couple of new text recognition features coming to macOS Catalina, so I may add that in fall, and maybe that's better. Let's see.
Because I tried several one, most of them are 80% accurate. And that means.
Yeah, I would recommend to get a picture which is something like 150 dpi, and make sure that it looks nice on black and white, because the engine will use a black and white image. So if you have something like blue text on green background, it may not work. But otherwise, and if you are looking only for numbers, you can whitelist characters, so you can tell the library to just look for numbers, or you can blacklist certain characters, so you can say, I don't want any O's, it must be a 0, stuff like that.
And then Larry asked a question.
Yeah. Well, if you need help with rotating pages, yeah, here's a question about rotating some big PDF pages, and I think if there's a problem, maybe you better email me something, or send me a link where I can download a little test database maybe, and the sample file, and then I can look what's the problem. A PDF page can usually have an orientation, so there's so you have the page, it's maybe created upside down, and then it could be attributed with a rotation. So this rotation may be different than the actually content on the page. And then one of the examples, I think, will correct that to make sure that the content and the metadata both is straight up. So it's same with images. Images can have a rotation. Like if you take a picture with the iPhone is on upside down. It will write down in the metadata that it's upside down. And if the image software reading the picture doesn't know that, it will show you the picture upside down, and because it has to read the metadata and rotate the picture. Any other question?
So for the email, when someone sends you the email,
Yeah.
is it possible to detect the email and relocate that email into the right folder or right place?
Well, if you are interested in receiving emails, I would suggest to make a separate email box on the server. Sort with rules on the server all the emails which you want to automatically import into that mailbox. Like if it's going to your support email, you can make copies to the automated email box. Then you can have a script on the server running every minute looking for new mails. This script could then walk over all the mails in the inbox, could import each email into records, and then delete the email or mark it as a thread. So it can check for new emails every minute. Yeah. Some people do that already.
I have a couple of questions. What was the hardest feature to implement in your plugin?
Oh.
Just knowing, the architecture of how FileMaker works, what was the biggest challenge to get to work?
I don't know.
They were all easy? Maybe they're
No, well, some things can drive you crazy. Like when you have a feature, sometimes it stops working.
Well, that was another one of my questions. We'll get to that one in a second.
But something like here changing script colors in FileMaker. That's something where you look, and you have to look through your debug outputs and see where's the problem. Then you change a little bit. Then you have to shut down FileMaker, start it again, see if it takes the right effect and not crash it.
I know we haven't changed our plugin architecture in quite a while. Is there something that you wanted to do that you can't do just because of the limitations of what we?
Oh, there are a couple of things.
Like what's the number one thing you'd like to do?
I can't start scripts on server.
Okay.
I would love to have a way to get some authentication token for the current running script and say, I want to trigger a script later with the same login, authentication, whatever. Or there is no API to get the alignment of text. Like you have a field where you have text, you can choose alignment in the menu, make it right aligned or center aligned, but I can't query that state.
Okay.
And people ask me to, but we take the text from a field with styles and put it on a PDF or on the clipboard or an RTF file, and we can't get the alignment. But if you look in the product ideas pages on the community and you just search for plugin, you find a couple of requests from me.
And then the final question, which you started to move is along the way, just, we fix bugs, we add, and I know some of our features probably on the toes of your features, but have we broken anything?
Oh yeah, sure.
To the point where you weren't able to fix it, or you?
No, not something. Sometimes things change. I mean, there was on like I have those functions to look for web viewer on a layout, and you from one version to another you change the name on Windows for the control, and so my code is normally very conservative. So if anything doesn't match what it's expected, it will just exit and return error. So it looked for a control with a specific name, you changed the name, so I had to update the plugin. Or with WebViewer in 16, you changed from WebKit 1 to WebKit 2, and I had to rewrite everything.
And then the final question, just curiosity more than anything else. So we just came out with 18. What do you have to do from a QA standpoint? Do you have like a file that has every plugin call in it to test? I mean, the testing must be crazy on your part.
Yeah, well, we continuously use the latest version. So if there's a new beta, I use the beta already months before the release for my everyday work. I usually try a few things here and there. There are things which are more likely to break. And I mean, 500 examples, I don't check them every month or every few months. It's more likely that someone will tell me something is broken, or that I will check something, make an example for someone, notice it myself. But usually there isn't much breaking.
Okay, that's good.
So for the last 10 FileMaker versions, there were only 2-3 things which broke on the way, which really showed interest. I mean, okay. It's like if someone from FileMaker contacts me and tells me the new beta is broken, I don't even have the beta yet.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Yeah. I just figured with the amount of the functionality that your plugin does, if you tested it with every version that came out, it would take you quite a while. So you kind of rely on word of mouth for issues more than anything else, plus whatever you use on a daily basis, right?
Yeah, we use a lot of stuff ourselves, and as I get a new version of a FileMaker beta, I will start to use it as a main version I use. So okay. If there's anything wrong, I notice it, and you may see a few ETS bugs from me, bug reports.
Do you program absolutely anything people ask for, or do you ever recommend another plugin?
Well, there may be a few functions I would not want to program unless someone comes with a truckload of money.
So have you seen, so is there an example of another plugin you just, oh, I want to use that one?
Well, I think I got several requests to do something with Outlook, and I think there's another plugin doing that. And I'm not really interested in programming Outlook, for example.
And you have a favorite demo that you haven't shown us?
Demo? Oh.
The web directive have many limitations. Do you have any plugin to help?
Yeah, for the question you asked before, there's no way for me as a plugin to interact with WebDirect with a client browser. There's nothing we can do about that. So I can just sit on the server and do something where I have no way to, for example, send a JavaScript to the client and do something.
So direct.
There's probably a lot of layers in between, so it would be hard, probably very difficult for FileMaker to implement anything there.
The problem is that now the program now designed, a lot of UI now it become very complicated. And if you use a WebDirect to access the data or create a software, really don't make sense. Because they just have a very basic function.
Okay.
You totally need to redesign another software for WebDirect.
Okay.
Am I right?
Well, the plugin runs for WebDirect just on the server process, so we can only be called in a server script for anything, and we have no user interface access. So people ask me from time to time if I can do something like filling out a form in a web viewer, which is embedded in a WebDirect solution, which would need me to send JavaScript to the client, and it's not possible. Any other questions?
So that's just me asking them.
Okay.
Which function now or plugin now you are working on, what project you are working on, the next feature you like to
I spent the last days for Zugfeld integration. So this thing with the XML in the PDF for an invoice. That's well, we have FileMaker customers which produce FileMaker databases for companies which have to deliver invoices to other corporations, and some corporations now require all invoices to be on the Zugfeld format or be signed or be PDFA, and so I have a lot of requests for all these PDF features. But otherwise, I'm open for ideas. So if you have any wishes for new features, please email me. Maybe I can add something.
None of you guys use the plugin currently? Did you see something there that would compel you to buy it?
Well,
There's a lot of stuff.
Well,
there's
yeah.
a lot of things.
It's kind of a blur, but I mean, one of the things that popped out at me was the being able to search scripts. What I do now is I actually print out the script and search the PDF to find. Then you have to print out all your scripts. You can search all the scripts.
No, the plugin,
Not just the current script, but all the scripts.
my plugin just reads the text visible in the script editor, so we can only search the visible text. And if you have a very long line and it shows dots on the end, we can't search that text.
Well, one of the things that's kind of nice about the PDF, there's a feature that kind of went away at one time too, that I used to be able to do like a little type ahead, like you hit some letter, like the letter S, and it would go and at least jump down to like the next time the S was the first line of the character. Like for instance, if I hit P, it would jump down where it says print, right? It used to do that. FileMaker hasn't done that lately. And then, but one nice thing about printing out the PDF is that there's more options showing in the PDF than actually show on the screen. So there's actually more visible information in the PDF that gets printed up, and you can actually see what you're reading through the text. It actually makes it kind of nice to be able to search for some of those parameters that are in the.
Well, you know, we are just reading what's on the screen.
Oh, I see.
And maybe in future there can be better features built on the XML, on the new Save as XML feature. Maybe if you could save it continuously and then have a second app reading it, so it would be up to date always, and you could search in a separate app. Oh, we'll see.
I'm excited about some of the XML features. I haven't really dug into XML FileMaker, but we have a Vectorworks, I don't know if you know that software I can export XML data from drawings, and then I want to try to take that into FileMaker. Which I've never tried to do before, but now that you're putting those on.
Well, you should try our automatic import, see if it works for your XML document. If you like it, you're done.
Yeah.
Or you could just use our XML parse function and just parse it once and then query all the values, query the number of nodes in a certain level, and then loop through the records and then copy the values you want into fields.
If I remember, there are some features that you have that are free, right?
Yeah, like the syntax highlight.
Yeah. So everybody should have MonkeyBread top.
Yeah, of course. Everyone should just install a plugin. And if it's just for the red brackets and the calculation dialog, so you see your mistakes right away. You can even define your own rules, like having, say, a special variable name, which is always shown in a different color than the normal variable names, or give your custom functions a special color, so you know you typed them correctly. So, but we appreciate, of course, if you buy a license.
It's only one way.
As long as people,
149 for 5 users?
Yeah, the price is not bad.
as long as people buy the licenses, I don't need to apply for a real job.
It sounds like you wouldn't have time. It'd probably be a lot easier for you.
So, any more questions?
Anything else, guys?
That's awesome.
I've stopped recording.
Sure, wait.
Oh,
Now you can. Goodbye.
There we go. I copied all the text there on the chat. And you're sure there's nothing else you have a demo for? You have the show us?
Oh,
Not in the slides, but something else. You just,
what do you want to see?
Some XML function or something.
See, this folder is, yeah, that's. So let's say, I'll show you the map viewer. So I have a couple of Apple scripts, so I can launch FileMaker in different languages. And here, for example, we create a map view. And then let's say Santa Clara. Oh, there's a map here of Santa Clara. You can, oops, zoom and look for where's FileMaker somewhere.
You're close. I was gonna say you're really close.
Not sure this show. Okay, somewhere there.
yeah.
Actually, I don't.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Save screenshot.
Wait, how did you do that?
I have a script for that, but I didn't prepare any cool examples to show to you. So
That menu that just popped up, where'd that come from?
which menu?
Oh, when you did the screenshot.
Which has the save the data.
Huh?
The one that has the save the data.
Yeah, scripts. So save screenshot. That's just a script here. So what else could I take? Maybe I could try the Mac and iOS, the continuity camera. Take a picture from you guys.
By the way, what's Zojo?
That's just the other programming tool I'm also making plugins for. Oh.
What are you doing?
Just making a picture. I shoot the picture with the iPhone and get it into a FileMaker.
Did you have to install anything on your phone?
No,
Not go through.
I can do it again. So here I'll show the pop-up menu. So take picture, scan a document. Oh no,
You don't need to
no,
use the FileMaker at all.
no, it's not FileMaker Go. It's just a plugin. Oh, come on, it's detecting a face. So
This is a feature of Mac OS and iOS. I forget what they call it.
continuity camera.
Yeah. So he's just, you're piggybacking on that with your plugin to allow it to work with FileMaker to some degree.
Yeah, and you can just use the same here with text edit and other applications.
Like Apple, as far as I know, they tout it as you're writing an email in Apple Mail and you can take a picture with your phone and it'll show up in Apple Mail. It may work in other places too, but that's the one place that I've seen them demo it.
Wow.
Anything else you want to see?
You said you can print the website.
Yeah, we have a lot of
Because
it.
in FileMaker, you can't print the website normally, right?
Like we have here web viewer examples, and here's a print example. Let's just open it. So it loads a website, and then you can say print, and oops. Oh yeah, there's a web viewer. We have WebKit 1 web viewers, which can print, and WebKit 2 can't print.
And how do you fill and submit the forms on a website?
Okay, you're jumping on. I was looking for the other example, but okay, here's a form fields example. Let's just try one. What is that? This? No, what's that? This one here. So this is all the field types. So I have some text in FileMaker. I can press a button, and the text is on the web view. And that's just calling here our plugin function. Set form input value, passing in the name of the web viewer, the name of the form, the name of the field, and then the value.
So I just look through the HTML, find the names of those fields then?
You can, but you can also use our form utility application. You can download on the website. Let's see here, this form.
That comes with the plugin.
That's, well, the download link comes with the plugin. I actually nowadays put it on the website because it's.
Is that available for Windows also?
Yeah. So let's see, this loads the form, and then now you can here inspect all the form fields. And there's even a suggestion which command to use. So you can just copy this, paste it in your FileMaker script. So if you have, like, you're going on the same website several times a week and you have to fill in your address or your customer's address, it may be handy to automate that. If the website changes, you will have to redo your script because the names of the fields could change. But in that case, it will simply stop working and you will be manually typing again.
Is there on the developers, is there potential of automating that process where like, the page changes, there's another field, he goes out, grabs the information from the utility and then brings it back in again? Or?
Well, you could just have a script look for the field names on the form, and yeah, well, what do you want to do? I mean,
you said you had some functionality where you could actually dynamically create fields.
Well, that's in a PDF document.
Oh.
You can run whatever JavaScript you want, and you can have JavaScript going through the field list and just looking for something named first name with some prefix or postfix, and then say, okay, this is my first name field. But if you have some people redo the website every few months and change the form names, It's annoying.
Yeah.
So like here with the web viewer, I can show you the tiny MCE and drawing tool. Is it calendar is also just a few examples for using the web viewer. So here's tiny MCE. That's an HTML editor which runs in a web viewer. Yeah. So you can fill in some text with the plugin. You can change it and get it back as HTML. With a similar technique, you can run here a method drawer as a drawing tool. You can draw something, save it as an SVG, and also load it back. Yeah, this is some saved picture. And here's the calendar. This is something we made on a training day in Switzerland, where we initialize all.
How did you get that 18 on your icon?
Oh, that's a custom icon because we have 17, 18. Like you see, I have several versions of FileMaker here.
Oh.
So someone made the custom icon with the 18 on them.
Oh.
This is a calendar made in JavaScript and HTML, and we loaded it here to our web viewer, and I can just create an event here, can move it around and actually get a script triggered. Oh, that's not. Yeah, you have to enable it in security to call back.
What is query other FileMaker instance with server sockets function? What is that?
You can have two FileMakers running in a local network. And on one, you can start a server socket. And on the other, you can, for example, send a command to trigger a script, to run a SQL command, or to run a calculation. So you can trigger a script from one computer to another.
From one what?
From one FileMaker running on one computer, trigger a script on another FileMaker. But this can also be done with TCP IP functions or the UDP sockets, whatever you like. Then I can show you the context menu. Here I click and I get, I have to check here. Those two are missing. Oh, maybe something changed.
So do you have something for IoT?
Well, what do you need? Yeah, but what do you need? I mean, for most devices, it's just curl with sending some data, or a serial port sending some data.
You say you have in the utility area, you're able to run command line tool from the shell program.
Yeah.
Can you do that on the server, or like I could?
Yeah, of course.
So I can issue a command on the server, it can return information that's on the server back.
Yes, you can, for example, from the ping tool. Of course, you have to make sure that the tool can be run from the FM server user account on the machine. But yeah. So, don't we have any more questions? No.
No, it's all mine. Oh wait, somebody asked a
I can tell.
JSON import. Maybe
Oh.
a demo of that perhaps? I don't know.
Okay, let's try the.
Because you already said that.
Yeah, but I just tried the XML import, and I could just, let's say I take an oops, wrong version. I take make a DDR, or here save as XML. Let's try that. This gives me an XML file. Let's see. Yeah, let's make a UTF. I think I converted just to UTF-8 because the script expects. So this is my import script here. Test XML on the desktop in UTF-8. Okay, so test. So now let's run it. You should see it's creating 2,000 records. What is taking so long? Okay, finished. So I can here see I got a few tables created automatically. A lot of tables, a lot of fields, and let's see, we have records. Where do we have records? Then we have text. This may not be the perfect thing to import, but let's say we have here a step. So I can create a new layout to actually show the data we imported. Step, say a table here. So this is just data from our XML created from the FileMaker database itself. So it has all the scripts with all the steps inside. And here we have the actually steps with a name, and the plugin automatically creates record UIDs here and links all the records and sub-records with a parent record. So you could now look up here for records with that UID as parent to find all the individual parameters for this script line.
Oh, this is the XML that's coming out of 18?
Yep.
Oh.
I just don't have any example XML ready here.
Somebody asked another question.
Yeah, it uses the same tables on the second try if you specify the same prefix.
So instead of creating it, it will just add to the existing
Yeah.
tables.
Yeah. It's something you can try out.
But that won't work by renaming the tables, right?
Yes, of course. We look for the tables by the same name, and if you rename them, won't work. I would recommend to import in a separate import file, so you could at any time just throw it away or recreate it, because you may import thousands of records just to get a few values. Like I made this feature for a customer in Germany who imports 250,000 address records every month, and they didn't want to write an XLST to transform that for FileMaker, so we made this automatically feature, and so they can rerun the same import every month, and just either clear the old records before importing or just add new records. If you it may be interesting to see if you could just filter out duplicates, or let's see. But this feature is quite useful, and a couple of people are very happy with it. Any more questions?
So do you have anything like resources booking? It's like a calendar, you have calendar function. And do you have a resources booking like the hotel room booking or?
The thing is, we make functions like to control the web viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can load a calendar solution into the web viewer, and you can control it with a plugin. And that's what we made with this calendar example, where we load the calendar into the web viewer and then just run a JavaScript command to add something to the calendar. So I can show here how to create an Excel document. Let's say, so I create as a button, and creates here an Excel file with some rows, some data, some formats, and then I can show this numbers. This was the demo version, but we just created this Excel file out of nothing. if you look in the script, you see that we create here font definitions, format definitions, then formatting, like here, the number, formatting for phone numbers. We define alignments, we create columns, and then finally we write some text and formulas into the cells.
So the developer specifies all this?
If you want, yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing that bothers me with the.
I would.
with the Excel export now. Of course, you get this, you just get a generic Excel sheet that has the field name. And you can predefine all that stuff there, so you get a nice looking Excel sheet every single time.
But most people just load an existing template where you may have a diagram defined already, and then you just fill in rows with data and take most from the template. Or on another topic with PDF, let me just copy that to the desktop. Say here, this is an example where we create, this is a template for an invoice, and we create our own PDF here without using the PDF features from FileMaker, but okay, so you see me again, and I can press the button here. And it's is it, yes, okay, put the library in, and we get a PDF created. Here we go. So I just created this invoice completely with the plugin and the existing template. So it's we place some text here, we place some text here, and we create this table here with items and prices, and we calculate the intermediate sum. That's all happening in a script without using a FileMaker layout for the rendering.
So it's very easy to create any sort of report.
Oh, you didn't even know that.
This is without a layout because you define everything here in the script, how you like the tables to look like, format them as you need, and then the table is placed in several chunks over several pages. Any other questions? Please take a look on the examples.
Yeah. How many video examples?
Video?
You have video examples of the.
Yeah, we have a few videos on the website, yeah. For example, there's a video to show you how you create an iOS app with a plugin, because a lot of people don't follow the steps exactly and run into an issue. So I just did it as an example and recorded it so you can see which steps to follow.
And I can get that app onto my phone.
Yeah. You build a new app with Xcode or with the iOS SDK with your database to be embedded in the app. And then you get an app on your iPhone and you can click it and it opens with your start database.
And I don't have to put it up on the App Store or anything like that. It just goes
You could put it on the App Store, but usually you would just deploy it within an enterprise
Oh, wow.
directly.
And I wouldn't need to go to the App Store.
Without the App Store, yeah. It's like if you have a bigger corporation and they want to have their own solution to order pizza or whatever, you could.
How do I distribute it?
With MDM, usually you push it on the devices. Yeah, of course there is, but usually you can, if you're just on your computer, you can just push it over to your iPhone with local code signature. But you can also get with MDM to push enterprise applications without App Store, and then you can put it on the App Store if you want. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any more questions, you can contact me. And for those who made the way here, I have also a few pens if you want a pen. Otherwise, see you at my booth at DEF CON in Orlando. I'll be there.